All right, we finally finished this insulated dog box, whelping box. So let's go do a proper walkthrough and explain what's going on here. So you'll notice the bottom of the dog box has a 2x4 here. There's a frame that goes all the way around. That frame sits on the ground to lift the floor of the dog box up 1.5 inches off the ground. What that does is it creates an air pocket underneath that doghouse. So when the mama dog is laying on that floor is going to get warm and not be cooled down by contact with the cold ground, because the only thing that's touching the ground is that framing that goes around the four sides. All right, and then we have internal and external walls. So here's the external wall and the internal wall, and there's spray foam in between those walls. So we have about 3 inches of spray foam in the front, the side, and in the back. This internal wall here is not insulated, but it does have thermal barrier, because there's a 3/4 inch piece of plywood here, and then also a 3/4 inch piece of plywood there. Now this one is mounted flush because I needed the space here for the mama dog to walk through when she's pregnant. If I had that in, it would take up another 3/4 inches. We needed that space to make sure the mama dog can go into this hallway and turn and get into the whelping chamber. All right, now the internal walls, you'll notice they come down flush with that pig rail. Pig rail meaning that a puppy, if it gets pushed up against the side and the mama sits down, she's not going to sit down on a puppy and squash it in the corner. There's a little space that she can accidentally shove that puppy under, and that way the puppy doesn't get crushed. And that's on all 4 sides of the whelping chamber, or whelping area. The next we have a brace here. Oh, and the roof is insulated also. So we went back and added a thermal barrier on the roof, so with again an internal and external layer of plywood with an 1.5 inch spacing, and we have foam board in the roof. It's a little bit easier to work with than the spray foam, and that worked well for us. Because this box does not vent much as far as air leakage, we wanted to make sure that we could open it up in the summertime, so we put this brace here, and we had to have an L leg on it, because if I had this sitting right above there, then I wouldn't be able to close it because it would hit the board down here. So we had to have the brace come over to the side a little bit, and that allows that to work. Then when we're not using that leg right there, or that wrist right there, holds this when we set it down, okay? Here we have a piece of aluminum on the front, because that's going to be the targeted area for chewing. It's below the dog when they're walking in and out, and they can sit outside or inside and chew on that, and we just put that because we had that material here and we used it. This 4x4 that we have screwed in the front provides a step, and by providing a step, a puppy doesn't have to step up 7 inches to get in. It makes it easier to get in than it does to get out. So now they only have to step up like 4.5 inches to this area, and then another 3 inches to get in. So that breaks up the climbing and makes it in intervals where it's easier to get in than it is to get out, because the step to get out is about 5.5 inches to get out. Okay, and we did the same thing here. We have a layer of steps, 1.5 inches at a time, or 1 5/8 at a time, so they can go up in intervals, making sure that any puppy that can get out can get back in, because getting in is easier than getting out. So to get out, they have to step up about 4.5 inches to get out. All right, so that's the overall view of the dog box. You'll notice this outer area is not insulated. That's just an external piece of plywood, and that's because we're going to have some heat from this chamber leaking out, because we got that big door. All right, so I felt like it would be wasted effort to insulate that wall there, because this is the main section here. This is what we're really trying to do here, is insulate this area. What that is for is not so much for insulation, but is for a windbreak, so the wind can't blow through the door. So now if there's any wind, it's going to come through here, and this hallway is going to stop the wind from drafting through really easily, because you got this barrier here. Okay, let me go ahead and close it, and you can see. Oh, and here you'll notice this piece of plywood does not come all the way flush to the edge. And that's because as heavy as this roof is, I wanted a lip that I could grab with my fingers without putting a handle on the roof. So now I've got a lip here that we can grab. Okay, and there it is closed. All right, well, if you're interested in the schematics on how to build this doghouse whelping box, it's 3 feet this way, 4 feet this way, and this one happens to be 25 inches tall on the plywood. That's because we have that 76-inch piece, so we cut it into 3 pieces that were 25 inches, and then we had a tiny bit of scrap material. But typically we'll run 24 inches on height because a sheet of plywood is 96 inches long, and you can get that's 8 feet, and you can get 4 sections that are 24 inches out of 1 sheet of plywood, and that would be enough for your sides and whatnot, your verticals. But we used what we had on hand, and with what we had, we were able to get an extra inch without it costing us. We have this braced here where that actually can go against the fence if I want to, or I can pull this. I'm not going to have it like this when there's a mama dog, because I don't want her to knock this heavy roof over and have it hit her. That sucker is heavy, so we made that brace there to prevent that from happening. All right, y'all take care. Have a blessed day. Lee Robinson, American Sentinel Canine. The schematics are going to be on our members only section. Bye.